Hey, I'm Nathan Tabor, and thanks for joining me. We've looked at the law of order, which is doing things in the right way, putting them in the right order so you get the result that you want. So what happens when you're not getting the results you want? Well, I've put together a 5-step process. And the first step in that is admitting. You have to admit that you have something in your life, some result or some misery or pain or stress that you don't like. It's something that you know down deep you need to change, but there's issues standing in front of you. Normally pride or ego or self-centeredness, or the inability to say you're sorry, or a monetary or a spiritual, whatever it may be. The first step is you have to admit. See, because change doesn't happen by itself. All of a sudden it's not, click your finger or wiggle your nose or, do something simple and all of a sudden you get this shiny new life. It doesn't work that way, right? Sometimes I wish it did, right? Where you could just wipe away, dry erase and just, I made that mistake. Oops. But it doesn't work that way. So to get past that, the first step is admitting. Admit that you have an issue and that you need to address it, that you need to change it. So you have to first be willing to take that step. And this is one of the hardest steps. This is what I struggled with personally for years. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years of really coming to grips with that I had a role that I had played getting to the place that I was in my life. I had outside influences. I had things that had happened to me that had nothing to do with me. But I also made my choices. I made my decisions. And I had to sit down and admit them. So, pretending that everything is okay, I'm good. Gotcha. It will last for a time. You'll be able to sustain that. But it's only prolonging the deeper seated problem. It's only making the distress and the misery and whatever's, cooking inside of you, it's only making it worse. The strife, the argument, the conflicts, they're still going to be part of your life. You'll control them for a moment, a time period, but they're going to continue to come back up. So essentially, the good news and the bad news, things are not going to get better long term. They might short term, but long term, they're not going to get better until you start dealing with them. So now is the time to just go ahead and start admitting these issues. What I didn't realize at the time when I was there, I thought no one knew. I thought I had everyone fooled. Thought I had the wool pulled over their eyes. Whatever little saying you want to throw in there. But after I started talking about it and after I started expressing myself, people were like, oh yeah. You didn't know that? So, they basically called me out as a hypocrite because I just acted like no one else knew or nothing was going on or everything was great. So people already know. But the good news about this is you're not alone. You're not the only person struggling with this. Nobody. I mean nobody. There's nobody walking this earth that doesn't have issues, that's not going through problems in their life, not dealing with something. Everybody has it. The difference is most people will go through their life never addressing their problems, never addressing their issues, just pretending or acting like everything's great, and they're miserable. You see them. You might be one of them. I was one of them. It's no way to live. Everyone has problems. You wonder why they aren't satisfied. You wonder why they struggle. You wonder why things aren't getting better. You can look at someone else and identify all those things, right? But that person has problems. What I want you to do now is turn in internally. Look in the mirror. What's your problem? What's your problems? Put an S on there, right? Because it's not one problem. So it's time for you to get on this. It's time for you to start dealing with this. It's time for you to start tackling, addressing the problems in your life. It's time for you to start admitting them. We're all humans. We all make mistakes. We all have issues. You got to put the attention to them. You have to deal with this. So stop denying. Stop denying that you have everything under control. I think I said that wrong. Stop denying that things in your life are okay. Because things aren't okay. They are out of control. You might think you are trying to control them, but you're not. So stop delaying the process. We can either choose to change on our own, or at some point we might be forced to change. It's time to admit these things. So when we're done with this, or you can do it now, grab a pen and a piece of paper, grab your phone, grab your computer, however you want to write things down, and start putting everything to laying it out. Start putting everything written down. Start typing it out. What's your pain point? What's your misery? What's your problem? What's your issue? And start writing them down. Write down every problem that you can think of. Start listing them then from top to bottom. What's the biggest issue? What's the smallest issue? Start admitting it. That's the key here. This is not to write down blame. Well, I'm this way because this person did this to me. I don't want you to do that. This is not a tell your story because someone else did you wrong. This is what your problem is. Just for this stage, this step, I just want you to admit. And I want you to look at it from what's personally, kind of break it out into categories. What's on the personal side? What's on the professional side? What's on the physical side? What's on the financial side? And what's on the spiritual side? Now, a lot of these are going to overlap. A lot of these issues part of it might be personal, and part of it might be professional. Part of it might be spiritual, and part of it might be financial. That's okay. You can put them in those categories. You can write it down however it best makes sense to you. Because you're the one that's going to have to make these changes. You're the one that's going to have to deal with these issues. I'm just laying out the format, the shell here. There's no time limit for this exercise. This is something you should get to the habit of that you're doing on a regular basis, daily, weekly, monthly. It's always important to reflect on who you are and what's going on in your life and where you want to improve yourself. So go ahead and get started. I mean, now, why wait? Are you happy where you are right now? Are you satisfied with the life you have? Or have you just, become complacent? You're just getting by. You're just surviving. Why live that way? That's not what God intended for you. That's not how God wants you to live. He doesn't want you to live in misery and just waller in it, that the things aren't going good for you, or you don't like this or that. That's not His intent for us. If you need some help with this, I've created a written plan. It's a worksheet, and you can go to my website, Nathan Tabor, that's TAB as in boy .com/law of order, LAWOVORDER, and you can download that free written plan there. There's no cost in this, there's no strings attached or anything like that. The next step in this process is identify. So we've identified the law of order, why things aren't going the way they should be going. We've dealt with the first step, which is admit. Now we want to identify. So if you want to learn more, you on this website, the nathantabor.com/law of order, will be the second video called Second Step, Identify. I hope you'll take the time to go over there and watch the second step and really start working on, addressing, taking control, because remember, only you can decide, can choose to make these changes.